Welcome to Veg Babies. Thanks for joining us. So the first thing that I want to explain is how to set up your garden. So I'm going to do this in a veggie pod, but of course often this is a 1 meter by 2 meter square veggie pod, which I'm going to demonstrate in, and I'm also going to show you how to set up a garden in your backyard as well if you don't have this kind of system. But we've just got this veggie pod, and so we're pretty excited about using it. You can actually get them second hand now and trade me pretty easily. This one's a second hand one. So I will show you how to set up a veggie pod. So a veggie pod is a wicking bed system, which is really, really good in conditions that dry out a lot in the summer, and they are really water efficient. So most of the time in the New Zealand summer, a system like this is really good. You can create one in your garden, and I'll show you some videos on that. But this veggie pod is a wicking bed system. Now if you come down here and have a look, it's just been raining, so it's filled up already with water, and this is the part that holds the water in the bottom, and there's a little hole at the end there, and that makes sure it's a drainage hole that makes sure that it doesn't get any more full than that. And what happens is it's called a wicking bed because the water wicks up through that and keeps the soil wet from there. So, but the last thing that we want is for the roots of our plants to be sitting in water. So to fill up our bed, you start with something porous like sand, but sand's very, very heavy, and pumice is really, really good because one, it's a sustainable product that is available in New Zealand, and two, it's relatively light, and it will just create a layer that helps your roots can grow into it, but it keeps it aerated at the bottom there. So put some of this in each one. I've just got some bags of pumice, so they're only $10 each, and that's a 15 litre bag. So it looks like I'll pretty much use 3 bags for this large pod. So there we go. Now the roots can grow down and grow in there, but it means your soil isn't getting soggy and kind of getting all manky in there. The one thing, because we've only got one bed and we're not going to be replacing the soil all the time, we want to get the very best compost that we can, and make sure it's organic. And what will happen when you put it in, you'll put it in right to the top, and it will compact down over time, so you'll be able to put more in as you go. But this is beautiful. This is from worm castings. This is from a commercial composting of our city green waste, and it goes through a worm system, and this is the beautiful rich soil that comes out of there. Now if we were to put just this in, it will compact down quite a lot. So what we recommend is that you can either mix some perlite or a little bit of some more pumice through, that just gives a little bit more air and structure to the soil. Or you can use a potting mix. Now this one's an organic potting mix. This is Revital, and this is the same, guys. It's the Revital soil. We've been really lucky enough to be donated this soil in these bags, so thanks very much to Te Puke Landscapes. And this is already mixed up so that it's ready to go straight in. So if you're using bags from a garden centre, then you just want to make sure you get a really good one and get one that's already mixed up. Or if you don't want to use as much plastic, it's much more expensive to do it this way too. They will deliver, landscaping places and Te Puke Landscapes, if you're around here, will deliver to a little cubic metre. This is a cubic metre here, which will be perfect to go into our garden. Nice. In fact, I think it might be half a metre. I'll check. Nice. I'm going to take one bag and I'm going to mix that through. There we go. Mix it through with my other soil under here. it all mixed through, and we're going to put it in on top like so, and put it right across, and we're going to get it right up to the top here. Still going. Stop. So another thing that I can highly recommend for your garden is a worm farm, and we'll be talking about that in another video. However, if you do have a worm farm, or if you know somebody with one, a really great thing to be able to do is to add then some of the castings out of the bottom of your worm farm into this, because even though the soil I've got here has worm castings, it's not activated. This is basically full of microbes that are straight out of your soil. You can see it's just moving in there. There's billions and billions of it, and so this will really help build the microbiology that you want to have in your soil, so that it will start being its own self managing system. I mean, the reality is when you're working with a veggie pod like this, we'll always need to add inputs, but this will give it a really good start, and we're just going to put that all through there. And the other thing that I like to put in is some blood and bone, and this will just add a kickstart of incredible nutrients to your soil. You're also likely to have a bit of blood and bone in your worm farm already. If you're using a home worm farm, you've got all sorts of things. Your coffee grounds are really good. You can actually, if you've got extra coffee grounds, you can mix that through. Mix a little bit of this, and just going to put a layer in the top. And one package of this lasts for ages, so you can just hold on to it, and then every few months or so, just give your soil a little bit of a boost. There we go. And mix all that through the first layer, and this will be epic when you put your veggies in and the sun's out. That's the big thing we need. We need water, sunshine and nutrients, and then we've got a garden going on. So I'm looking forward to getting is that there's worms that come from your worm farm, and they're very different to your worms that are in your garden. So these guys are designed, they're super hungry, and they're designed for worm farms, and they need constant, oh, there's another one, nice. They need constant feeding. So these ones won't survive in here. You'll need to use garden worms if you want to. So you can find, if you're in your normal soil, if you want to get worms into your veggie pod, then you can actually just pluck a bunch of worms out and stick them in, and they will do their thing. But the worms from your worm farm won't thrive in here because they need too much feeding. I looked it up, and this is just under half a cubic meter to fill one of these. I've got a little bit left over, so I'm going to fill up a pot, and then I can use my pot. And I think what I'll do, these don't look great in the front here, like I don't really like the look of them, so I'm going to start getting a little bit of a flower bed along the front. So I'm going to use pots and have my flowers coming up here, so that it'll kind of hide that ugly front side of it. But these, if you can't afford to get a big one, you can get them for a couple of $100 now and trade me the half size ones, which are this big, and do a combination of pots and things, and then in 6 months time you might be able to afford to add one and get another one, or you can use part of your garden and part of a pod. But I'm also going to show you just how to set it up if you're just using your garden space as well.